Welcome to my first pregnancy vlog video. If you watched my last video, I mentioned that I am in fact pregnant, and I will be doing these weekly pregnancy vlogs every Wednesday on this channel. So this is my very first pregnancy vlog. But before I get started, I wanted to give a little disclaimer about these videos. I just wanted to let you guys know I'm going to be very transparent in these videos. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, so some of the info I give may be just a little TMI. I'm not going to be like real gross or anything, of course, but I'm a firm believer in just sharing the truth and being transparent. I know when I watch these types of videos on YouTube, even before I was pregnant, personally, I like to know what I can kind of expect to happen to, me and my body and my baby while I'm pregnant. I don't like things to be sugar-coated or be given kind of any false hope or false information, if that makes sense. So I want to be very transparent in these videos because I also want to look back on them one day and kind of see what my body was going through back then, or how my pregnancy was. So if stuff like that really isn't your thing, then maybe you should kind of avoid watching these vlogs. But if that stuff doesn't bother you, then please feel free to watch. I can tell this video is going to be one of my longer videos because I'm going to update you guys on everything that I've been up to this point. I wanted to start out by sharing my whole pregnancy testimony because it's a very neat story. My husband and I have been trying for over 2 years now, and it's definitely been a journey to get to this point. I'll try to make this as short as possible, but basically a little over 2 years ago, I was having some issues with my menstrual cycle. It suddenly became very irregular. And at that point, I think I had put on a little bit of weight, which may have had something to do with it. But anyway, I saw a doctor to kind of get it checked out because, I was bleeding for 2 weeks, and then it would stop for a few days, and then I'd be bleeding again for another 2 weeks, which is very, very odd. So I wanted to get things checked out, make sure everything was okay. And basically, the doctor unofficially diagnosed me with polycystic ovarian syndrome. And we did some blood work, and basically I was producing more testosterone than I was supposed to be. So my hormones were kind of out of whack, which was causing me to not ovulate all the time and causing my menstrual cycle to be irregular. So he wanted to put me on birth control pills at the time, which I was against because we had just decided that we wanted to start trying for a family. And and then he informed me that it would be very difficult for me to get pregnant with what's going on in my body, and he suggested losing weight, which I tried to do, but let's face it, that's not the easiest thing to do. But I did decide to go on the birth control just for a little bit to kind of regulate things, but I took myself off of it a couple months later because I just don't like the way that birth control pills work in my body. They make me very irritable, and I just don't like the way that I feel when I'm on birth control. So I took myself off of it, and we pretty much just left it up to God to bless us with a baby when it was His timing. And I really didn't want to have to resort to any medications or other interventions to allow me to get pregnant. I really wanted to leave this situation in God's hands and trust that He was going to bless us with a baby when it's His timing. My husband agreed, of course. So pretty much for 2 years, all we really did was just pray every night, and just had to have faith that it would happen when it's supposed to. There were a lot of discouraging moments, I will tell you. I've had to reach out to friends and family, ask them for their support and for their prayers. Because there were just some days I just wanted to give up, and I just didn't think it was going to happen. But thankfully I have some wonderful family and friends that were, encouraging and who prayed with me and prayed for us. And 2 years later, here we are. So I mean, I don't know if there's any specific thing I did that allowed me to get pregnant. You know, I really didn't lose any weight, I don't think anyway. You know, I tried to make better lifestyle choices with what I was eating and stuff, but really just think it all came down to faith and prayer. And, you know, God gave us a baby when it was his timing. So, and it was kind of funny because I think at the point when I actually got pregnant, my husband and I were kind of in a place where it was like, okay, maybe this isn't going to happen for us, you know. And I think, I don't know if we were okay with that, but I think we were just kind of used to getting shut down every month and, you know, getting negative pregnancy tests every month for the past 2 years. So we kind of just became accustomed to it and you know, kind of figured it wasn't going to happen. But lo and behold, on January 27th of this year, I found out I was pregnant. So we were just so shocked. I'll kind of tell you how we found out. It was kind of funny. So usually when I'm about to start my period, I get, my breasts get very sore and I get very fatigued about a week leading up to my period. So I was expecting to start around January 27th, and I had experienced none of those symptoms up to that point. So I thought, okay, either my period is going to be very late this month or something was going on. Because actually I did experience some spotting around, I forget when, but it was a couple weeks before I had expected my period. I experienced some spotting, and I actually thought that was my period. And if it was, then it would have been a very, very early period, which was also weird. So I knew something kind of funny was going on, but basically I was having absolutely no symptoms. I had no idea that I could be pregnant. I was very hopeful that I was, but I, you know, based on my symptoms and stuff, I would have never guessed I was pregnant. So I don't even really know why I decided to take one. I think my husband kind of brought it up. We had a Target gift card, and we were trying to figure out what to do with it, and he suggested that, you know, why don't we buy a pregnancy test, which I don't even know where that came from, but I'm like, okay, yeah, why not? So anyway, we bought that on January 27th, and I went home and took it right away. And I was in the bathroom, you know, waiting for the results, and my husband was here in the kitchen making a snack. And so I'm waiting, and kind of, I don't really know what I was expecting to see. I kind of was expecting it to be negative because that's all I've ever seen for the past 2 years. But, you know, I was still kind of had a feeling like maybe it could be positive. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. But, yeah, I got the clear blue digital ones that say pregnant or not pregnant, and then it tells you how far along you are. So when it actually said pregnant on the test, I was just like in complete shock. I like felt like I was dreaming because I had never seen that before, you know. So I yelled my husband's name, and you know, I'm like, Vinny, Vinny, and he's like, no. And I ran out to the kitchen and showed him, and I'm like, it says I'm pregnant. It's never said that before. It says I'm pregnant. And he's just like, are you kidding me? And, you know, he got all dolled up. And, you know, we hugged, and I was, like, bawling because, you know, I was just so happy, you know. And then the test said I was about 4 to 5 weeks pregnant at that point. So, which I thought was very interesting. And at the time, we didn't have any health coverage, so what I did was I called right away, made an appointment at this free pregnancy clinic here in town, and the next day after work we went over there and got confirmation that I was in fact pregnant. And, you know, and they gave us some information on what to do to get coverage and all that, you know. And I already knew what doctor I wanted to see and what hospital, you know, I wanted to deliver at, so finding a doctor for me was no problem. It was just, I wasn't sure what to do about, you know, the whole getting coverage thing. But it was actually a lot easier than I had anticipated. I actually had nothing to worry about at all. But needless to say, we have coverage now, and we have seen our doctor already. We had our first prenatal appointment with the OB on February 19th. And, you know, they asked all like the family history questions, and they did like they did a pap smear and kind of like a physical kind of exam, and they did a transvaginal ultrasound, which was interesting. It was a little uncomfortable, but I mean, I didn't care because we got to see our baby, and we actually saw the heartbeat and heard the heartbeat too. And baby's heartbeat was around 170 to 180 beats per minute, which sounds kind of high, but the doctor said that's perfectly normal and that's good. So I guess that's all that matters. Decided we wanted to go ahead and do the whole like Down syndrome testing, I guess, to see if I'm at risk for that, which I don't think I would be, but you know, it doesn't hurt to find out. It's just a blood test, and then they do another ultrasound and kind of put the two results together to determine whether you're at high risk for having a baby with Down syndrome or not. And they even informed us, you know, if you are at risk, that does not necessarily mean that your baby is going to have Down syndrome. It just means you're at a higher risk for it. And then they recommend you do other like more invasive tests after that, which I don't think I would want to do because they're kind of dangerous. But we just wanted to be prepared and see, you know, if I was at risk or not. But I really don't think I will be. So I have to get my blood work done this week, actually tomorrow, when this video comes up. And then the following Thursday on the 19th, we have the other ultrasound. So I'm really excited to see the baby again. It'll be a lot bigger this time around than the last time we saw him or her. So I'm really excited to see how things are doing. As far as symptoms, I've been feeling really great. I haven't had any nausea or anything like that. The only thing I've really had is maybe a little bit of fatigue. And it's not even to the point where I need to like take naps throughout the day or anything. I feel like really lazy. Like I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit on the couch and watch TV all day. Like I don't want to do anything because I'm so tired. Going to work in the morning is really hard because I just don't want to work at all because I just want to lay in bed all day. But that's pretty much about it, I would say. You know, maybe like frequent urination. I do get up once or twice a night to use the bathroom. But and my sense of smell has heightened. I can tell that. I've had some cravings. Kind of in the beginning, I'd say around 6 weeks or so, I was craving a lot of like fruits and sweets, which I still kind of do now at 10 weeks, but lately I just want to eat like junk, like fried stuff, you know, and like salty stuff. But I still crave like cupcakes and ice cream and stuff like that too, so I don't know, which sucks because, you know, I really want to like watch what I eat and be like have a really healthy pregnancy. And that's another thing my doctor kind of recommended, that I don't gain more than 15 pounds this pregnancy because I am very overweight. So it sucks that I just like want to eat all this junk all the time, but I don't want to because I want to have a healthy pregnancy, like I said. Which brings me to my next point. I don't think I've actually gained any weight yet. If so, maybe a couple pounds. My scale and the doctor's scale is actually a little bit, say different things. So I really don't know if I've gained any weight at all this first 10 weeks, but I don't think I have. Maybe, like I said, maybe a couple pounds if anything, so that's actually really good. That's on track. So, oh, and when they did the ultrasound, they also told me exactly how far along I am, and at that point I thought I was, I think 8.5 weeks, but it turns out I was only 7 weeks and 6 days. So based on my last menstrual period, I originally thought my due date was September 25th. But based on this ultrasound, I'm actually due October 2nd. So I was about a week off from what I thought, which is fine. But actually around week 7, I did experience some spotting, which kind of freaked me out a little bit, and I did bring it up to my doctor's attention, and she says, you know, that's perfectly normal, especially in the first trimester, but as long as it's not associated with like intense cramping or like heavy bleeding and clotting, then it's nothing to worry about. And I haven't experienced any of those things, so that's good. And actually the spotting kind of subsided after a couple days, and I haven't had any since. So yeah, it's a big sigh of relief. And I've heard, you know, from friends and stuff that that's very normal, that they've experienced that too. So Yeah, I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, but just when you see like blood, when you're pregnant, you kind of freak out anyway, no matter what. So, but I thought I would share some pregnancy books that I have been reading lately. A very good friend of mine very generously let me borrow her old pregnancy books. So I am currently reading the What to Expect When You're Expecting book, and so far it's pretty good. It's very informational. It's not like what I expected it to be, I guess. But it's very good, It tells you what you can expect during your pregnancy. So it's kind of like a dictionary or like a textbook, I would say. It's not really like entertaining, I guess. That's the word I'm looking for. But I am enjoying it, so that's good. And then she also gave me the What to Expect the First Year, which I haven't started yet, but I am looking forward to reading that. Those are the only 2 books that I have right now. And then she did also give us a bassinet, which was very, very sweet and generous of her. I'd show it, but it's not like put together or anything, so I kind of got to clean it and stuff like that. But I'll show that later on, probably when I do a nursery tour, way later on. We have bought some items ahead of time, even stuff long before we found out that I was pregnant. Just kind of like a little hope chest of things. But and at our most recent Disney trip, we had bought some clothes and some stuffed animals and stuff. But I think I'll share that next week because this video is probably very long, and that way we'll have something to talk about next week. And I also wanted to mention about the baby's room a little bit. We currently live in a kind of a little 2-bedroom apartment, and this spare bedroom acts as kind of our office / storage room. So obviously that will be transitioning into the baby's room here pretty soon. So what we're going to be doing is getting a storage unit and kind of storing all of our junk in that storage unit, and making room for the baby's room. So I have lots of ideas of how I want to decorate it, depending on if it's a boy or a girl. And I think we'll actually find out the gender sometime late April. So I am really excited because I can't wait to start decorating the baby's room and planning it and all that. So, but I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to share in this video today anyway. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you can be up to date on these videos every week, as well as my Monday videos. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!